MEQB, Monday Evening Quarterback. I'm your host, SaintsFootballTalk.com, alias Jay Williams, and such a terrible loss yesterday. And I'm going to get right into it. To this point, Kellen Moore and his staff have not proven to be better than Dennis Allen's staff last year. And they're healthier. Now, on the flip side, Kellen Moore is the youngest head coach in the NFL, and so he will improve. But it's obvious his floor as a head coach is a little bit lower than we expected. Most concerning is the side of the ball that's his expertise is where the Saints are struggling the most. And there's some overall coaching things. There's some questionable clock management. Not attacking the backup cornerback for the Patriots the moment he came in the game. This team is a passive offense. And under Dennis Allen, it was a passive running offense. Which is what's so egregious about Kellen Moore's error, in that this entire offensive line, this entire offense was built around a run, wide zone, play action offense. You have to lean into that. Rattler has averaged about 33 passes per game through 6 games. Carr averaged 25 passes per game last year. Why is Spencer Rattler throwing the ball so much? That's on Kellen Moore. Why is the opposing team's head coach going for it on 4th down twice, showing aggressiveness? You were 0 for 0. That's coaching. The entire offensive line omitting Kelvin Banks was drafted to be an outside zone player. Saints' second drive, 10 plays and a field goal. Saints went shotgun 10 of 10 plays. Kellen Moore has expressed that the reason he enjoys shotgun so much is because it lends itself to getting into the man blocking concepts a little bit easier. Why aren't you playing to your offensive strengths, Kellen Moore? Why are you doing what you want to do? I've got faith in you. But why are you trying to force the issue? You should be disappointed. You should be very disappointed. Because you're holding that offense back more than anything. But we'll get back to you. Because we also want to express that trade Olave, trade Juwan. Sounds harsh, doesn't it? Here's why. Juwan Johnson is number 5 in targets for tight ends. He's got 1 touchdown, a fumble that resulted in points for the other team, and quite a few awful dropped passes. Chris Olave is number 2 in targets with 1 TD. A fumble that resulted in the opposing team scoring points. And also his own clip of awfully dropped passes. Egregious drops. Listen, both of them are holdovers from a previous scheme. They were brought in as part of Payton's scheme. And in Olave's case, has he been worth the draft capital? No. And that's okay. Sunk cost fallacy. Just get out while you can. Rookie contract. Trade him. Is he one of your better players? Yes. Is he the player that you paid for? No. Move on. In his case, you've got Vele, you've got Tipton, you've got Trey Palmer, guys you've invested in. Give them some options or some opportunities. In the case of Juwan, well, I mean, Taysom restructured his contract to include more incentives so the Saints can get back some money. Yeah, give him them snaps. Give Taysom the snaps. At least let him get some of his money back. And he's one of your better playmakers. You're more consistent playmakers. You're more relied upon playmakers. What's that statistic? Every time Taysom has touched the ball 10 plus or 12 plus times, the Saints record is like 8 wins and 2 losses. It's pretty high. Trade them both. Get some assets. Give some other players the opportunity. Now, what I'm about to say may or may not be controversial because it's rooted in logic. But Spencer Rattler is not the problem. He's a piece of the problem. And I'm going to highlight that because Rattler struggled in the red zone in college. That has carried over into his pro career. / it's not entirely his fault in this scenario because a lot of this falls on Kellen Moore as well. But that is why Spencer is not the problem. With that being said, if Kellen Moore isn't going to play the Spencer Rattler strengths, bring in Tyler Shough. That's who you drafted. That's who you feel can play in that shotgun heavy scheme. He can see over the defense. He's your guy that you identified to fit your scheme, your philosophy. Start him. You might as well. If you're going to be so egregiously against the grain as a head coach and not do what your offense does best, then start pulling in pieces that do what you want to do. Not because Shough is better than Rattler. Rattler is obviously better. But because Shough will do what you obviously want to do. Now, all of this goes without saying. Of course, Rattler should be the starter, and of course, Kellen Moore should be so good of a coach that he recognizes, why don't I just do what my guys do great? Absolutely, Rattler should be the starter. And if Kellen Moore is going to become the coach that it's possible he can become, he'll make that change and do everything that Rattler and that entire offensive line and that offense does best, and he'll lean into that and he'll slowly implement what he likes to do. But if Rattler is great at play action, run play action. There's no reason you should be only having 5 or 6 play action shots, actions per game. SaintsFootballTalk.com. Monday evening quarterback, Arnold Palmer. Because it is a mixture of coach and playmakers being the issue on offense. But it's egregious right now because just like how we said about Dennis Allen, how his defense last year was struggling to stop opposing offenses from putting up points. And it was so egregious because that was his specialty. The fact that the offense can't seem to consistently score more than 21 points is egregious. Because we were sold that Kellen Moore's offense should be an upgrade. Kellen Moore's play calling and philosophy and his wherewithal should be an upgrade. And it hasn't been. So why won't I bring up the defense this episode? Because Kellen Moore is an offensive-minded head coach and his side of the ball is underperforming. We'll talk about the defense sometime after the offense can manage to score more than 18, 17 points per game. SaintsFootballTalk.com. Manga Hitter. Because it's free. You're getting all this for free. Free 99. Don't cost you nothing. SaintsFootballTalk.com. There's no paywall. There's just good insights. And me. MEQB. SaintsFootballTalk.com. Elias J. Wood.